Hi guys, good evening. Happy Sunday to you. Welcome back once again to the EdWord. In tonight's video, I will be doing my episode recap and review for the season 6 premiere of everybody's favorite show, The Walking Dead. Ooh, it was a great opener this season. Whoo! That was wow. Okay, before I begin blabbering on, of course, I should warn you, this will be full of big spoilers. For the Season 6 premiere of Walking Dead. If you did not catch the premiere, or if you're behind on Season 5, do not keep watching or listening to this video, as I will be discussing big spoilers. So, you have been warned. That being said, whoo! Bravo! Bravo, cast and crew of Walking Dead. That was absolutely phenomenal. Very big episode. A lot of stuff happened. We learned a lot. And it's given us, it's set up a tone as to how this season is going to be, and it's very exciting. This was good stuff. You know, I thought to myself, wouldn't it be cool if the opening scene of this episode was Rick and company fighting side by side against walkers, or just doing something, working together. Rick, his people, and the people of Alexandria. And sure enough, the opening scene kind of shows that. I mean, the first thing we see is like hundreds, if not thousands, of walkers in this gigantic hole in the ground, this quarry. And Rick is standing on the roof of a truck with our main characters and some Alexandria residents, you know, like trying to, inspire the troops, so to speak, and telling them how it's going to go down. And, it shows them all, like, Rick is assigning jobs to everybody, and you get that strong feeling of teamwork and togetherness in that opening scene. And I gotta say, overall, this was a hell of an episode. I really enjoyed it. This was very good. I really liked how to differentiate between present day and flashback, they did the flashbacks in black and white, which I thought was interesting. And I gotta say, I thought it looked really cool. Like, it had a nice creative, artistic touch to it. And of course, Morgan is now part of Alexandria. Yay. Glad to see Morgan back at it. And he's slowly, familiarizing himself with Rick again, of course, and his family and his allies and the people of Alexandria. You know, Rick and the others have kind of brought him up to speed of what's happening. Speaking of bringing people up to speed, you know, Tara awakened from her little mini coma in the season finale last year, and we saw the continuation of that in this episode in the flashback. And, she has a funny line about Eugene's hair. She's like, "Thank God nothing happened to your hair." Something like that. Eugene's genuinely happy to see her. In fact, this is like I think one of the few times we've seen him really genuinely smile, which was something else. But then we all remember that, oh, she doesn't know about Noah. And she has that little line that just irks you. She's like, well, I guess I'll have to have Noah protect me. She's just kidding around. And then our characters all look at each other like, we have to tell her. Yeah, we gotta tell her about Noah. So, yeah. Poor Noah. Yeah, it was pretty tough to watch. So Tara's brought up to speed, of course, and, it shows Rick, Daryl, and Morgan all having a conversation about how, Rick's telling Morgan, I don't take chances anymore. And we really see a very different Rick in this episode. This Rick, in the season premiere, basically, he has become this take charge, I don't take bullshit or orders from anybody else kind of guy. We're going to do things my way. This is how we're going to do it. No questions. This was a very take charge Rick. It's like, it's my way or the highway. Like, he was barking orders, telling people what to do. And, he's very confident. He was very confident and very competent as well in this episode. He's gotten very tough and brutal. Brutal is one word to describe it. He's gotten very brutal to the point where he doesn't really feel bad about killing people anymore. And, what was interesting is that we see this one guy, this one Alexandria resident, Carter, who originally helped Reg build the walls around Alexandria when the settlement first was established. He's the guy who keeps questioning Rick's authority and decisions. And basically, you know, our characters discover that there's this nearby quarry a few miles outside of town, and it's just this like this giant walker pit, essentially, just filling up with thousands and thousands of walkers. And the reason that it's filling up is because they keep clambering down there, and they're drawn to their own noise, to the noise of clamoring, hungry walkers. And the silos, these trucks that were originally put there to block them all in and keep them in, are starting to fall apart, and walkers are squeezing through. And the real danger here, I mean, this is a serious threat. As soon as those walkers, you know, get through those trucks, they're going to start heading directly towards Alexandria, because that's like the closest establishment to them, and you know, they're just going to keep walking aimlessly in that direction. So Rick and our characters could come up with a great plan to divert the herd in another direction away from the community. So they intentionally let the walkers out, and they use Sasha, Abraham, and Daryl to, you know, lure them all out. And you know, we were all thinking, my family and I were watching it together, and we all kept saying, "Oh, this would be a bad time for a breakdown, wouldn't it?" But you know, what I also liked about this episode was that, you know, it showed us, you know, there's already resentment. Of course, you know, it's not a surprise, but there's already resentment being shown towards Rick from some of the Alexandria residents. Some of them are actually afraid of him. And, you know, like Carter kept questioning him, where Ron, Jesse's oldest son, of course, resents him now for the fact that he basically executed his father. And then he even followed and observed Rick and Morgan bury his father outside of the town, because Deanna didn't want her husband's killer buried or receive a proper burial, kind of like a last fuck you to Pete, basically. So Ron follows them out there, and that's how they discover about the massive quarry full of walkers, because Rick hears it. And when he first hears it, because we the viewers kind of hear it, and it almost sounds like a stream or a river, just the... But as we get closer, you realize, oh god, those are growling zombies down there, ew. And that's how they find out about it. So that's what this episode was all about. It's like, it's literally a day or 2 days after Morgan showed up to Alexandria and Rick killed Pete. 1 or 2 days later, this is the next thing that falls right into their laps. Not only has there been this shift in power in Alexandria, and Rick flat out executed a man, and a long lost friend showed up, and now everybody has to work together, even though some of them may not like each other, to prevent a horrible walker attack from happening in Alexandria. And oh god, speaking of people not liking each other, during the flashback, it's like everybody who lives in Alexandria, or a majority of its citizens and our main characters, are meeting in Deanna's living room. And when Father Gabriel volunteers his services to help out with the plan to get the walkers away, Rick just suddenly and abruptly says no. Like Gabriel says, "I'd like to help." No. And it's like, whoa, damn, talk about your cold shoulder. And obviously Maggie told Rick about Gabriel's little talk with Deanna a few episodes ago, where Gabriel tried to convince Deanna that Rick and his people couldn't be trusted, were dangerous, and that they need to be kicked out of Alexandria. So obviously Rick, as he is justifiably so, is angry with Gabriel. And that was just funny as hell, as the way he just suddenly cuts off Gabriel before he finishes the sentence. He's like, "I'd like to help." No. Oh god, you know, that was funny. You know, this episode had some pretty humorous moments in it tonight, and you know, it was a nice little relief from all of the tension and the escalating with all the whole walker herd happening thing. And then you know, so then the flashback, you know, Eugene overhears Carter talking to a couple of other Alexandria citizens about actually killing Rick and taking charge of the community, but Eugene gives himself away. And another funny moment, Carter pulls a gun on him, points it at him, and all Eugene can think of is, "Hello," as if nothing had happened. But then fortunately, Rick, Daryl, and Morgan happened to enter the pantry where this little meeting was taking place. Rick disarms Carter, and then this confirms my theory when I talked about my earlier video, when I did my trailer reaction video to the Walking Dead Season 6 trailer that was debuted earlier this year in Comic-Con. where Rick is talking to somebody, pointing a gun at them, saying, "Do you have any idea who you're talking to? You really think you could take this community as from Glenn, from Daryl, from Michonne, from me?" And that began the speculation of, oh no, is he pointing the gun at Morgan's head or that guy's head? Because we didn't know what that guy's name was until recently. It's Carter. And sure enough, yeah, he's pointing it at Carter, and he's the person he's saying it to. But Daryl kind of gives Rick a look saying, come on, cool off, calm down. And then Rick returns his gun to him saying, you're either with us or you're out of here. Bottom line, it's my way or the highway. This was another example of Rick displaying the whole take charge attitude, which is great because you want that in a leader who's confident and knows what they're doing. And Deanna, she's kind of given Rick to be in charge of everything because he's more experienced in hardcore survival, and she is still in a pretty bad place because she just lost her husband, and she's probably not in the best state of mind to be making serious decisions, but she is competent enough to tell people to trust Rick and not question him. And Glenn kind of like leans toward Maggie and says, you better keep an eye on her to make sure she's okay up here. And then speaking of Glenn, he and Nicholas still have this little problem with each other, where Glenn really does not want him going out on any missions or any runs at all, but Nicholas willingly volunteers to be part of Rick's plan to lure the herd away from Alexandria. And, Glenn doesn't like it, but he can't really do anything about it. But Nicholas actually listens to Glenn, doesn't panic, and follows his lead when he and a new character, Heath, help Glenn eliminate a potential distraction from the herd that they're trying to drive away from Alexandria. They take out some walkers in a farm store because the walkers are making too much noise and it could distract the passing walkers, who are like, huh? And then go towards the noise. So they take out the walkers, and Nick actually saves Heath a couple of times, and Glenn kind of gives his little nod of approval to go ahead and kill a walker. So it seems like Nicholas is taking baby steps towards redeeming himself for getting Noah killed and for trying to kill Glenn. Because we see that in the flashback where, Tara's just giving him the nastiest look as they're digging these holes to put up the poles for the walls that they're going to build around the road to force the walker herd to go left. And, Maggie's bringing her up to speed saying, because Tara's like, so he got Noah killed, huh? Yeah, and he tried to kill Glenn. And that pisses off Tara. You can see how angry she is when Maggie tells her that this guy unintentionally got Noah killed, and he intentionally tried to kill Glenn. But Maggie pointed out Glenn's the kind of guy who saves people, and even though they may not like him that much, they need him. They need all the people they can get at this point. And, it was also, what I also really liked about this episode, it was great to see some of the residents of Alexandria really stepping up and finally becoming true survivors. And I was really looking forward to seeing both Bruce and Tobin, the two guys from the construction crew who helped Abraham last season, when they were putting up the walls outside of Alexandria. It was nice to see Tobin and Bruce and Francine all step up, and now we have this new guy, this new character, Heath, the black guy with the long hair and the glasses, who is a direct adaptation from the graphic novels, I believe. He is a scout for Alexandria, and he's now been brought to life on the TV screen, so welcome to the family, Heath. And, it was just great to see the people of Alexandria, some of them who actually agree and believe in Rick and his people, and they're following by their example because they want to become real survivors. And we saw that in the flashback where, Jesse tells Rick, don't talk to my son that way, because Rick kind of gives him a scolding when he catches Ron spying on him and Morgan as they try to dispose of Pete's body, and then they discover the quarry full of walkers, where Rick actually saves his life from falling into the pit. But Jesse assures him that, he was right that night. The night where Pete killed Reg and then Rick killed Pete. She said, you're absolutely right. We need to take charge and, being responsible for our own lives, and we need to fight or we die. That's basically the bottom line. It's like we either fight or we die. So Jesse's got the right idea. Tobin seems to be on board, as does Francine and Heath. So hopefully more and more Alexandria people start to come around to the group's way of thinking. And, you know, the plan is going so well, the herd is being drawn away until, oh no, what happened? Carter gets bitten right in the face, and it's too bad too, because Carter actually admits to Rick that the plan is working, and they actually shake hands, and it's like Carter's unspoken way of saying, I'm sorry for plotting against you. You were right. This plan worked great. And as Carter begins to scout ahead, he's bitten right on the cheek by a walker, and his blood-curdling screams starts to draw some of the walkers away from the road, away from the herd, and into the woods towards the screams, where Rick is forced to put a knife into Carter's head and put him down, where Morgan and Michonne fortunately show up and take care of the rest of the walkers. And you can see how troubled Morgan is by how casually and quickly Rick killed this guy, and Rick obviously feels kind of bad about it. And, you know, I was talking about this with my aunt earlier, and, you know, she pointed out Morgan's probably going to become our new moral compass, our symbol for humanity, and hopefully he doesn't meet a fate like Dale or Herschel, our two previous moral compasses. But I'm sure he'll stick around for a long time. He's been gone off the show for so long, and hopefully he'll stay around for quite a while. Hopefully the whole season. Who knows? But, you know, it was unpleasant for Rick doing that, and this was like a foreshadowing, because in the earlier scene, which was a flashback, Rick admitted to Morgan that even though he wanted to kill Carter so badly, he's glad he didn't, but he's like, people like Carter are going to end up dead eventually, and he was absolutely right. That's exactly what happened to him. Fortunately, the distracted walkers are drawn away when Rick orders the others to start, you know, shooting off rounds to get them back on the road. That works for a short while, and the plan seems to be back on track until suddenly they hear blowing from a distance, blaring horns. Like, sounds like truck horns, basically. Like somebody got one of those trucks from the quarry and they're just blasting away on these horns. And sounds like it's coming from Alexandria, and now the herd has shifted direction and is moving directly towards the safe zone. So overall, great episode. Loved it. Can't wait for the next episode or the rest of the season overall, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how these characters are going to adjust to their new circumstances regarding the new leadership in Alexandria and all of the non-stop threats. It's just a hell of a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed the season premiere as much as I did. I always love the season premieres. Please leave your thoughts and opinions and your feedback down below. Don't forget to like this video. Subscribe to this channel for more upcoming content and review videos. I'll be doing my Walking Dead reviews every Sunday after every new episode, so please stay tuned for that. Thanks again for tuning in, and I hope you guys had a great time watching The Walking Dead tonight, and don't forget to catch new episodes every Sunday night on AMC. Thanks again, everybody. I hope you had a great weekend, and have a great week, and I'll see you next time. And of course, until next time, excuse me, may the Force be with you.